Jack White has had his fair share of feuds over the years. He's never been one to mince words about how he feels, whether it be about his fellow bandmates or other musicians or even his own ex-wife. Today, let's explore the feuds that Jack White's been involved with. This was one of the first public feuds that Jack White would be involved in. The whole feud started when musician Ryan Adams in 2002 was on the road and covered several White Stripes songs, changing some of the lyrics to suit the occasion, and it was that action that supposedly set White off. Adams would get wind of the whole thing and give an interview to New Musical Express where he laid into the musician saying, and I quote, "Did little girl White talk back? What an effing movie star. I don't have a problem with him. He started it. I know that's what you say in school. But what's he doing on the internet, seeing what's being said, saying, I see you changed my lyrics effing pawns." Adams would go on to slam White's fashion choice of the color red and claimed he was first offered the role to appear in the Civil War film Cold Mountain but turned it down. White would end up appearing in the film instead. However, as years went by, Adams seemed to change his tune on the White Stripes, as he would praise their 2003 release Elephant and say more recently in 2014, rock and roll got its deserved hero when Jack White stepped up and was like, watch me devastate your entire effing industry and all of your expectations of rock with a plastic guitar. But the following year, Jack White did a Q&A, and Rock NYC would report that when asked if he was a Ryan Adams fan, the guitarist would say, I wouldn't want to be him bumping into me somewhere. It was the following year that White got into a physical altercation with Von Bondi's frontman Jason Stolzheimer. The two were attending a record release party at the Magic Stick nightclub in Detroit when things apparently got heated. White was apparently upset from some negative comments Stolzheimer made to the press about White and tried to confront the singer about it. The Von Bondi singer would tell the police that White had tried to speak with him in the club, and when he refused, the White Stripes frontman angrily threw him to the ground and punched him 7 times in the right eye, and as a result, White would suffer cuts to his hand. Jack White would be instrumental in helping Von Bondi's in their career, getting them signed, and producing their first record, as well as getting them to open for the White Stripes. White would tell fans at a Q&A session, according to MTV, following the altercation, the entire event was completely exploited by him, his band, and his managers and legal professionals. The two of us did have an argument, and I did spit at him, but what he didn't say is how he then grabbed me, pulled me down, and pulled out a good deal of my hair. My retaliation was to hit him to get him off me, then he landed on my hand, which became cut on broken glass underneath it. The whole thing lasted less than 10 seconds, he would say. White would be the only one who had to face charges in the brawl, and had to pay $750 in fines and attend anger management classes. The White Stripes would come to an end in 2011 after several years of inactivity. The band's last major tour would happen in late summer and fall of 2007, but a handful of dates were canceled due to drummer Meg White's acute anxiety issues. Meg and Jack had been married nearly a decade prior and divorced shortly before the band took off, but they still played together and remained friends in the years that followed. It was during a 2012 profile on White in the New York Times Magazine that he said of Meg, Meg completely controlled the White Stripes. She's the most stubborn person I've ever met, and you don't even know the reasons. Then in 2014, White would speak to Rolling Stone where he put down Meg once again, saying, she's one of those people who wouldn't high-five me when I get a touchdown. She viewed me that way, oh big deal, you did it, so what? Almost every single moment of the White Stripes was like that. Meg White, for her part, would not comment on the story, and she's been pretty reclusive since 2009. Jack White would have to clarify his comments, putting out a statement where he claimed he wasn't trying to slight her, saying, I would never publicly do that to someone I love so dearly. In 2013, White would have a pretty public divorce with actress and musician Karen Ellison, and the divorce got especially nasty when TMZ confiscated some of the emails between White and Ellison, where the White Stripes frontman blasted fellow rockers the Black Keys. In the email, White lambasted the fact that his kids went to the same school as Black Keys frontman and guitarist Dan Auerbach, writing, that's a possible 12 effing years I'm going to have to be sitting in kids' chairs next to that a-hole with other people trying to lump us in together. He gets yet another free rein to follow me around and copy and push himself into my world. Then in May of 2014, during a cover story for Rolling Stone magazine, White once again slammed the Keys, revealing, there are kids at school who dress like everybody else because they don't know what to do, and there are musicians like that too. I'll hear TV commercials where the music's ripping off sounds of mine to the point I think it's me. Half the time it's the Black Keys. The other half it's a sound-alike song because they couldn't license one of mine. There's a whole world that's totally fine with a watered-down version of the original. But by the end of the 2010s, the feud seemed to be water under the bridge. The Black Keys would release a single, Low High, and Jack White's label, Third Man Records, sang their praises on social media, saying, more evidence that Nashville rock and roll is alive and well. Congrats on the new music to At the Black Keys. The same year, the members of the Black Keys sang Jack White's praises as well, saying, "I think it was really cool. Dan and I have known the label co-owners for almost 20 years now, and I've actually gotten to know Jack the last 6 months a little bit. This is a big month for rock and roll in Nashville with the Raconteurs record and our record." That does it for today's video, guys. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like button and subscribe. We'll see you again in Rock and Roll True Story sticker.